Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. And today we've got the sound system demo on the 2022 Mercedes C-Class and its 15-speaker Burmester 3D surround audio system. This is going to be an in-depth review. We're going to take a look at how the infotainment system works, take a look at audio inputs, adjustments, controls, speaker locations. Then we're going to head out on the road and listen to these sample tracks while we're rolling, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Now, if you don't care about any of that stuff at the beginning and you just want to hear the music, click ahead in the video. We've got chapters to get you right to the tunes. And I recommend listening with headphones so you can hear exactly what I hear in the driver's seat. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Now, unfortunately, it seems like it's just starting to rain. I don't love shooting sound tests in the rain because the sound of the rain hitting the car can interfere with the music, so we're going to try to get this done quickly. All new C-Class, we've quite enjoyed having it this week. Admittedly, I haven't spent a bunch of time with it, but Chris has. So we've got a review in the description as well as a fuel economy test where it did pretty well even with these winter tires on it. So if you'd like to see those, check the link in the description. Now, we always do these tests with lossless, uncompressed WAV files, but today they're not on a USB stick plugged directly into the system because I plugged my USB drive into this car and it said the device was uncompatible. I don't know why. I didn't have time to try reformatting my USB drive or anything, so we are going corded Apple CarPlay directly in, still with the uncompressed WAV file, so it should be pretty high fidelity audio. And we've got the high quality Roland binaural microphones in both of my ears, giving you the most realistic audio system demo on YouTube. We also do the test with the sound settings set to their factory defaults. So let's take a look at those now. We have the large new Mercedes Infotainment, the MBUX Mercedes-Benz UX infotainment screen here, very square. Pretty easy to use once you've spent a lot of time with it because there's a lot going on in the system. I've got the media screen open right now. Let's click this gear icon and go right here. You're given your sound profiles. You've got pure. That's going to give you the most true to recording sound. That's what we're going to do most of our testing in. And then 3D sound is going to give you more of a surround sound and 3D kind of enveloped effect. Let's turn it up and hear what that sounds like. Overall, I think pure sounds a bit better, but sometimes easier listening. You like to have that 3D kind of cool experience. And then you've got personal sound profile. We're going to go through that in a minute. Below that, you've got bass, mid-range, and treble EQ. Let's go through those. Quite a lot of tapping to get through all of those adjustments there, but a good bit of adjustability. I kind of wish there was actually a little bit more, like you heard a more dramatic effect from all of those. Then below that, you've got front, rear, left, right, fader, and balance. That's pretty straightforward, easy to move around the cabin. Then you have a sound focus. You can focus the sound either in the rear seats or on the front seats, or uncheck that to get all. Loudness normalization, that's Burmester's way of saying as you get going down the road, it's going to try to lift the audio elements and keep everything sounding the same to make up for road noise, engine noise, etc. We're going to leave that off for this test. But let's go back to the sound profiles. This is something that Mercedes and Burmester has been doing recently in some of their newer cars, and I really think this is a smart move on their part. It allows you to customize the EQ kind of to how you might want it, whether you know it or not. It sort of walks you through. I'm just going to go through. It's going to make a lot more sense to you. Let's reset the personal sound profile, reconfigure. My music turns off. We press start here. And then it starts playing this and says set your personal comfort volume. Now, how I interpret that is if I'm just cruising along listening to music at a medium level, how should it sound? I'd say that's pretty comfortable. And it says do it again with these higher sounds. So again, if someone is a little more sensitive to higher end sounds or doesn't hear them very well, they can kind of adjust those separately. And then set the sound which you find to be balanced. You can go all the way down here or up here. Say about right in the middle for me. And then set a volume which you find to be low. I would say that's a low volume for me. Set the sound to which you find you wish to be balanced. I want the highs to probably come out a little bit more there. Desired volume. There you go. Snare drum comes in. How loud do you want those to be? That's way too much. That you can't hear at all. So I want a little bit more snare there. A little bit more power. And then it lets you kind of go between bass, speech, brilliant, and intensive. Oh yeah, I like an intense sound. That's the area which the sound should come from, so more surroundness. Gives the music more of a full sound, and then 3D is going to be more spatially up and down. So I don't like much 3D, but I do like a little bit of surround, so I'm going to do kind of right there. Bass characteristics: neutral, soft, warm, or punch. Let's go through those. I'd say I like a soft bass. So now you can compare. This is my personalized sound profile compared to what a flat EQ would be. I think that's really cool to have that, because a lot of people don't know what they like. I mean, yeah, they can kind of play around with the bass settings or the treble settings or something, but they're not going to really know what they think sounds good without really being stepped through that. And everyone's got different ears. It can change from day to day or week to week or song to song. And I like that Mercedes gives you that option. So let's listen to, oh, I said the name. Cancel.
Sorry.
Cancel. Let's go through, every time it stops it on my phone. Let's go through what my personal sound profile sounds like compared to Pure now. Now see, interestingly, I actually don't know if I love how my sound profile sounds. I think Pure probably sounds a bit better, more balanced, but it's something fun to play around with. For audio controls in the new C class, you've got a volume scroller here, which you can see I'm fumbling around with a little bit, but you can slide your finger back and forth. You can also, when it's up, you can just use the touch screen right there, kind of drag it around. Is this van trying to go right here? So you can slide that around. You can also click right here. Or you can use up here on the wheel, slide, but you can't click on the wheel, because if you click that, it'll mute it. That's the only thing clicking on it does. For track selection, you can use the screen here if you're in the proper menu. Might give you even these buttons down here, kind of chilling out down there. And that is about it for track selection. I don't believe there's really a button on the wheel to do so. You can use this thumb pad to navigate through the center screen, change tracks that way, or maybe you can scroll down on the front screen and get to a media. Yeah, there you go, and then slide back and forth through tracks there. For audio inputs in the new C class, you have your standard AM, FM, Sirius XM satellite radio, USB-C ports in there, no USB-A, although we do have an adapter for it. Bluetooth, support for wireless and wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and some online music option right here. I don't know exactly what that's going to give you, what sort of applications, but it doesn't seem to be as simple as something like a Spotify built in. So what does that mean you're missing? Well, there's no 3.5mm auxiliary input jack, there's no CD drive, there's no USB-A port, so make sure you have those adapters. And like I said, you are missing that streaming service built in. Some people are going to want to have your Apple Music or your Pandora or anything. I don't think any of those apps are hiding in there, but maybe they can make something that you could download. Speaker locations. As I said, this is a 15 speaker system. Starting on the bottom left, you've got mid-range here 1, tweeter 2, center 3, 4, 5 on the other side. Within the firewall up there by my feet, you've got what they call front bass woofers. So that's making 6 and 7, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. And then up here, actually, you've got 8, 9. These are 3D speakers. They don't really do much unless you've got more of a 3D sound system mode on. And then coming into the back, mid-range 10, tweeter 11, 12, 13 on the other side, and some surround speakers in the back deck lid 14 and 15. All right, I'm gonna get this stuff put away and we're gonna get out on the road. Now, I really don't like shooting these tests in the rain. It's not fair for you all trying to hear the sound system compared to other cars with hearing the rain going and the windshield wipers and everything. But I've been out of town for the last week, the whole time we've had this car, and they're picking it up in about 20 minutes. So it's now or never. We're getting this done, and let's get an evaluation in. using this track to evaluate sound systems is so great, because initially when that song first came on, I'm hearing the super nice crispness of that guitar, and it's really satisfying. Like, ooh, yeah, this is perfect. But then when a little more of the instruments are starting to come in, there's something lacking in the bottom. And I should say, before you get too caught up on this, this is a very, very good sound system. This is probably the best in this class from any of them that I have tested off the top of my head, from what I can think of. It's very, very good. All it's missing is a fullness. It's got top tier highs, and the mid-range is pretty strong as well, pretty well balanced, but there is that fullness that's lacking, and I think those front bass woofers are good at a bit of punch, but they're not good at a holistic, rounded out sound. For this next song, we will test them out a bit, turn the bass all the way up, see what they can do. Maybe. So again, it's a nice little punch. It's satisfying from that perspective, but it doesn't have the rumbliness of a big, satisfying, well done bass. It's not filling out the cabin in how you'd want from a super top tier sound system. My thoughts on the 15 speaker Burmester system here in the Mercedes C-Class. This system is a good example of two things. One, this car is still class leading. From everything I can tell, I admittedly I haven't spent time in the Audi A4, so with whatever its top system is, it's possible it's better, but this is right up there with the Lexicon and the Genesis G70. And Chris and I really couldn't think of anything else in this class that competes with it. Well, actually, I take that back. The Acura TLX system is better than this. So, that being said, this is pretty much just chasing the TLX. The other thing it's a good example of is a system that you have to get out on the road and listen to at speed to really evaluate. Because if you turn this up to mid-volume in a parking lot, it's gonna sound absolutely fantastic. But when you start fighting the low hum of the road noise and everything, that's when you when you crank up a song, you're like, oh, this is missing a little bit of something. So it does sound very good. It's an accurate system. I like the tweeting. I like the mid-rangers. but whether it's bumping up the power a bit or just throwing a subwoofer in the back or something, it would help the sound system sound more full and well-rounded. So all in, this Burmester system's getting an A. I like how it functions. I'm not a huge fan of the volume controls, but I can get used to it. I like the personal sound profile, what they do with the system and everything. I would just, if they're gonna step it up from A to either A+ or S or something, they're gonna have to get a more full sound. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the C300, check the link in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.